Chosen one, have you ever felt like heaven forgot your name, like your pain was too private for even God to witness, like you were chosen, but for suffering, not purpose? Listen to me, chosen one. I know you're watching this in the dark hours when sleep won't come, when the memories replay like broken records, when you ask the question that burns in your chest, why me? You've been betrayed by the very people you'd take bullets for, gaslighted by those who claim to love you, your confidence shattered by whispers in rooms you were never meant to hear, and through it all, you stayed, you endured, you carried a light you never asked for while they tried to snuff it out. They called you too sensitive, too much, too deep, but here's what they never told you. You weren't abandoned. You were handpicked by fire. Every betrayal was a test, not of your worthiness, but of theirs. Every attack was preparation disguised as persecution. Every silent night when you wept alone, God was collecting your tears like sacred data. You weren't being punished, chosen one. You were being positioned. They didn't break you. They revealed who they were. Your isolation wasn't rejection. It was divine protection. While they plotted in shadows, heaven was shielding you from becoming what they already were. You survived because your light was too necessary to let die. Your voice too vital to let them silence. Your story too powerful to let them rewrite. And if you're watching this right now, if something in your soul just whispered, "That's me," then drop everything. This is not content. This is your confirmation. Thank you to those supporting this message through donations and super thanks. Your generosity isn't just seen, it's spiritual. You're not just giving. You're sowing light into a harvest you may never see. Whether you give or not, I'm grateful for your presence. Your time, your attention, your faith, it matters. Because you were never the victim in this story. You were the warrior they underestimated, the light they couldn't extinguish. The chosen one they tried to convince was cursed. But curses don't stick to the anointed. And what comes next will shift everything you thought you knew about why you were attacked. Because this meeting, this divine appointment between your pain and your purpose. And now, let's go deeper. They came for you like vultures circling wounded prey, whispering your name in rooms you'd never enter, twisting your truth into their fiction, making you the villain in a story you never signed up to star in. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? The gaslighting that made you question your own sanity, the way they'd smile to your face while sharpening knives for your back, the slow, methodical erasure of everything you thought you were. They didn't just betray you, they tried to delete you. But here's what they never understood about the way heaven operates. You can't erase what God authored. Listen to me, chosen one. When they pushed you out, when they made you disappear, when they convinced the world you were the problem, that wasn't your ending. That was your planting. You weren't forgotten. You were planted. That darkness wasn't your grave. It was your greenhouse. Every lie they told was fertilizer for your growth. Every door they slammed was God redirecting your path. Every friend who abandoned you was heaven clearing space for your real tribe. You felt erased, but you were being prepared. Remember Joseph? His own brothers threw him in a pit, then sold him into slavery. They thought they'd written his obituary, but God was writing his biography. The pit wasn't his punishment, it was his promotion ceremony. Same with you. When you vanished from their circles, when you stopped showing up to places that never fed your soul, when you disappeared from conversations that only drained your spirit, they celebrated. They thought they'd finally silenced the voice that made them uncomfortable. But silence isn't always surrender, baby. Sometimes silence is strategy. While they were busy congratulating themselves for getting rid of you, God was busy preparing you for something they could never touch. While they were spreading lies about who you used to be, heaven was crafting who you were becoming. You weren't in exile. You were in incubation. And now you're emerging. Different, deeper, dangerous to every lie they built their comfort on. See, they tried to bury you, but they forgot. You're a seed, not a corpse. Seeds don't die in darkness. They multiply in it. Every tear you cried in isolation was watering ground they couldn't see. Every prayer you whispered in your car, in your shower, in the middle of the night when sleep wouldn't come, those weren't desperate pleas. Those were divine downloads. God was teaching you the language of lions while they were busy playing with sheep. You learned to roar in the wilderness. You discovered your power in the pit. You found your voice in the void they left behind. And now when you speak, something's different, isn't it? There's weight to your words that wasn't there before. There's authority in your presence that makes rooms shift when you enter. That's not coincidence. That's consecration. The enemy thought they were writing your obituary, but they were actually ghost writing your resurrection story. David knew this rhythm. anointed as king, then hunted like an animal, hidden in caves while Saul slept in palaces. But every day in those caves was God's doctoral program in kingship. When David finally took the throne, he didn't just rule, he reigned with the wisdom that only comes from surviving what should have killed you. Your cave season is ending, chosen one. The same people who erased you from their narrative are about to watch you author your own. The same voices that declared you dead are about to hear your testimony echo through eternity. Because here's what happens when God hides his chosen ones. He's not protecting them from the storm. He's preparing them to become the storm. They thought they ended your story, but the author was still writing. And every chapter they tried to rip out, God was binding into a book so powerful that your enemies will quote your pain as their inspiration. Your disappearance wasn't defeat, it was divine camouflage. While they were looking for the old you, God was building the new you in dimensions they couldn't access. You've been hidden, not forgotten, planted, not discarded, positioned, not punished. And if something in your bones just stirred, if something in your spirit just remembered what they tried to make you forget, then this is your moment of recognition. Say, I receive this if your soul knows what they tried to erase was never yours to lose. Say it out loud. Let your own voice remind you who you've always been underneath their lies. Because what comes next isn't just your comeback, it's your revelation. And they're about to discover that the person they buried was actually the person they should have been studying. The seed they planted in darkness is about to break ground as a tree whose shade they'll never escape. Listen close, chosen one. Before your first breath broke the silence of this world, your name was already written in the book of the marked. Before your mother felt your first kick, the enemy was already plotting your destruction. Because they knew what heaven knew, you weren't coming here to play church. You were coming to shift kingdoms. You think this pain started when you got older? When you could finally name the betrayal, number? This war began in the delivery room. The moment you opened your eyes, darkness saw the light and said, that one cannot be allowed to rise. Every child you knew seemed to have it easier. Their family stayed together, their friends stayed loyal, their path stayed smooth. But you were handed chaos wrapped in love, abandonment disguised as protection, betrayal served on a silver platter by the very hands that were supposed to feed you. And you ask God, why me? What did I do wrong? Child, you did nothing wrong. You were born right. Too right for a world addicted to wrong. You see, when God marks a soul for greatness, he doesn't send them through Sunday school preparation. He sends them through Egyptian slavery. He sends them through wilderness wandering. He sends them through the valley where shadows have names and demons have addresses. You weren't cursed from birth. You were coded from conception. Think about it. Every prophet in Scripture faced this pattern. Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers and sold into slavery before he could even grow a beard. David, anointed as king but spent years running from the very throne God promised him. Moses, marked for deliverance but raised in the house of his people's oppressors. Your childhood wasn't a mistake. It was a masterpiece of divine strategy. They hit you early because they had to. Because if you had grown up comfortable, confident, celebrated, you would have been too soft for the assignment waiting for you. You would have been too trusting for the battles ahead. Too naive for the spiritual warfare that was always your destiny. Every betrayal was basic training. Every abandonment was advanced preparation. Every moment you felt forgotten was God positioning you in the shadows, teaching you to move in darkness so you could bring others to light. You weren't late to love. You weren't late to success. You weren't late to happiness. You were right on time for purpose. The enemy thought they were destroying your foundation. They were actually laying it. Every tear you cried in silence became liquid gold in heaven's vault. Every night you went to bed wondering if anyone cared became a deposit in your divine account. You know what separated you from other children? Other kids played with toys. You played with fire and didn't get burned. Other kids had imaginary friends. You had angelic protection you couldn't see but always felt. Other kids threw tantrums when things didn't go their way. You learned to find God in the disappointment. That's not normal. That's supernatural. You were born with spiritual DNA that made demons nervous. Your very presence as a baby disrupted the atmosphere of dysfunction around you. Family secrets started surfacing when you showed up. Toxic relationships started cracking when your light entered the room. Lies that had been protected for generations suddenly couldn't breathe in your atmosphere. Even as a child, you were a walking exorcism. But they told you that you were the problem. They said you were too sensitive, too emotional, too much. They tried to convince you that your gift was a curse, that your calling was a malfunction. Lies. Your sensitivity was spiritual radar. Your emotions were divine intelligence. Your too much was exactly enough for the assignment you were born to complete. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. The timing of your pain was not random. The pattern of your persecution was not coincidental. The consistency of your testing was not cruel. It was calculated. By heaven, God knew that ordinary preparation would never be enough for extraordinary purpose. He knew that surface-level pain would never produce soul-deep power. So, He allowed you to be forged in fires that would have consumed anyone not marked for the mission. You weren't born behind schedule. You were born precisely on God's secret timeline. Every delay was divine timing. Every setback was strategic positioning. Every moment you felt forgotten was God saying, "Not yet. They're not ready for what I've placed inside you." But now the season is shifting. You're not late, chosen one. You're precisely on time. The pain that marked your beginning is about to fuel your breakthrough. The isolation that defined your childhood is about to become the platform for your calling. You survived what should have destroyed you because destruction was never the plan. Preparation was. You were marked before you were born, chosen before you could choose, selected before you could speak. And every attack you've faced since day one has been confirmation that heaven made the right choice. The enemy's greatest mistake was thinking they could abort a mission that was conceived in eternity. If this has been your story since day one, if you recognize the pattern, the pain, the divine preparation disguised as punishment, confirm it now. Say it out loud, chosen since birth. Say it until your spirit believes what your mind is finally understanding. Because what comes next will prove that every wound was worth it. Every tear had a purpose. Every betrayal had a divine blueprint. And the very people who tried to destroy your beginning are about to witness your becoming. They mocked you when you disappeared, didn't they? Called you weak when you stopped fighting back. Said you gave up when you chose healing over defending yourself. They whispered about your absence like it was surrender, like your silence was proof they'd finally broken you. But what if I told you, your retreat was the most strategic move you ever made? What if that season when you went quiet, when you stopped explaining yourself, stopped showing up to battles that weren't yours, stopped trying to convince people who were committed to misunderstanding you? What if that wasn't failure at all? What if it was heaven pulling you back like an arrow in a bow? See, they don't understand the warfare of stillness. They think power is always loud, always visible, always fighting. But you learned something they'll never comprehend. Sometimes the most lethal weapon is a soul that knows when to be silent. Remember Elijah? After calling fire from heaven, after defeating 450 false prophets, the man ran to a cave, hid, went quiet. And the religious folks probably whispered, "Look how the mighty have fallen." But God wasn't done with Elijah. He was reloading him. Your cave season, that wasn't punishment. That was preparation. While they celebrated what they thought was your defeat, you were downloading something they couldn't see. Divine strategy, spiritual intel, the kind of wisdom that only comes in the wilderness, in the quiet, in the place where their voices can't reach you. You see, chosen one, God doesn't waste your pain. Every betrayal you endured taught you discernment. Every rejection sharpened your ability to recognize real love. Every time they tried to break your spirit, they were actually forging it into something unbreakable. The retreat wasn't a breakdown, it was a reload. You think David wrote those psalms in the palace? Number. He wrote them hiding in caves, running from Saul, bleeding in the wilderness. The very isolation they used to mock you was your conservatory, your school of the spirit, your training ground for the kind of authority that can't be taught in comfort. And now they're starting to see what that silence built. They're watching you move differently, speak differently, carry yourself with a kind of quiet confidence that makes them nervous. Because while they were busy performing their power, you were accumulating real strength. The kind that doesn't need to announce itself. Your stillness was spiritual warfare they couldn't decode. See, they fight with noise, with manipulation, with chaos. But you learned to fight with peace, with boundaries, with the kind of silence that says more than their screaming ever could. You mastered the art of not engaging with energy that isn't worth your light. Joseph knew this weapon, sold into slavery by his own brothers, falsely accused, forgotten in prison. He could have spent his time plotting revenge, building cases, screaming his innocence. Instead, he went quiet, let God move. And when Pharaoh needed someone with wisdom, guess who was ready? The one who learned power in the pit. That season when you disappeared from their drama. You weren't hiding from your destiny. You were being hidden by it, protected, preserved. While they exhausted themselves with petty battles, you were being prepared for wars they couldn't even see coming. And now they feel it, don't they? That shift in your energy, the way you no longer react to their provocations. The way their manipulations bounce off you like water off glass. The way your very presence disrupts their chaos without you saying a word. That's what divine insulation produces. A soul so grounded in truth that lies can't penetrate. A spirit so aligned with heaven that hell's strategies look childish. While they laughed at your silence, you were learning the language of spiritual war. You were downloading discernment, developing immunity to their toxicity, building the kind of inner fortress that makes you untouchable to their future attacks. Every day you stayed quiet. You were gathering ammunition they'll never see coming. Because silence isn't surrender, chosen one. Silence is strategy. It's the loaded pause before the thunder, the inhale before the hurricane, the stillness before the earthquake that shifts everything they built on lies. And now you're about to launch. You see it, don't you? The way doors are opening that were sealed shut during your silent season. The way people are drawn to your energy without you even trying. The way opportunities are finding you that you never had to chase. That's not coincidence. That's the return on your investment in solitude. God pulled you back to position you for a launch they'll never recover from. Every month you spent in hiding was a month of heaven downloading purpose into your spirit. Every tear you cried in private was purifying your vision for what's coming. Every time you chose healing over fighting, you were choosing power over performance. And the beautiful part? They'll never understand how you did it. How you went from broken to breakthrough without their permission. How you found peace without their approval. How you discovered your power in the very place they left you to die. That silence they mocked. It was your cocoon. And now you're emerging with wings they can't clip, carrying a light they can't dim, speaking with an authority they can't challenge. Because true power isn't loud, it's unmistakable. Your quiet season wasn't the end of your story. It was the rewriting of it. So if you've been in hiding, if you've been healing in secret, growing in silence, building in the shadows, this is your release. The bow is drawn back as far as it's going to go. The arrow is loaded with everything heaven deposited in your wilderness. Say it with me, I'm loaded with power. Say it again, I'm loaded with power. Because while they were making noise, you were making history. While they were fighting battles, you were winning wars. And what they thought was your ending was just your beginning in disguise. The silence is over, chosen one, but the strategy remains. Because now you know how to move with the kind of quiet authority that makes kingdoms tremble. And what comes next will prove that your wilderness wasn't punishment. It was preparation for a dimension of power they never saw coming. You thought you were just scrolling through another video, didn't you? Just another late night when sleep wouldn't come, when the silence got too loud, when the memories started their midnight parade through your mind. But chosen one, there are no accidents in the kingdom. You didn't stumble here. You were summoned. Listen to me carefully, and I mean this with every fiber of divine truth flowing through my bones. This moment, right now, is not random. The pain that brought you here, the betrayal that shattered your trust, the rejection that made you question your worth, all of it was orchestrated to get you to this exact spiritual coordinate. Because what's happening right now isn't just you watching a video. This is the gathering of the 144,000, and you're feeling it in your chest, aren't you? That pull, that recognition, that whisper in your spirit saying, I've been waiting for this. The meeting isn't in some convention center with folding chairs and name tags. It's happening in dimensions your eyes can't see, but your soul remembers. Every chosen one who finds this message, whether they're in New York or Nebraska, Miami or Montana, we're all sitting in the same spiritual auditorium right now. You see, when Revelation spoke of the 144,000, it wasn't talking about a head count. It was talking about a frequency, a vibration, a spiritual DNA that responds when heaven calls roll. And your name is echoing across eternity right now. Remember when you were a child and you'd hear your mother calling from 3 blocks away, how something in your spirit would respond before your ears even caught the sound? That's what's happening. The Father is calling his warriors home, not to heaven, not yet, but to purpose, to assignment, to the reason you survived everything they threw at you. This isn't a meeting with RSVP. This is the divine roll call. Think about Joseph in that pit. You think he knew his brother's betrayal was actually heaven positioning him for palace access? Think about David hiding in caves while Saul hunted him like an animal. You think he understood his exile was really royal training in disguise? That's been you, chosen one. Running from Saul's spears, surviving your brother's betrayal, learning to worship in pits and praise in caves. Every attack was preparation. Every wound became wisdom. Every silent night was God downloading warfare strategies into your spirit while you slept. And now, Now you're feeling the stirring, aren't you? The dreams that make you wake up gasping, seeing things you can't explain. The sudden knowing that cuts through you like lightning, about people, about situations, about things that haven't even happened yet. The way strangers look at you twice, like they're trying to remember where they know you from. That's not coincidence, that's recognition. Spirit recognizing spirit, light calling to light. The 144,000 awakening to each other across state lines and time zones, connected by something deeper than geography. You thought you were broken, but broken people don't carry this frequency. Broken people don't attract the level of spiritual warfare you've been fighting. Broken people don't survive what you've survived and still have enough light left to be here, right now, receiving this transmission. You're not broken, chosen one. You're activated, and the enemy knew it before you did. That's why they came for you so hard. That's why the attacks felt so personal. That's why the betrayals cut so deep and the rejections stung so sharp. They weren't trying to hurt a regular person. They were trying to take out a spiritual weapon before it fully loaded. But heaven had other plans. Every tear you cried in secret was collected. Every prayer you whispered in desperation was recorded. Every time you chose forgiveness over revenge, love over hate, faith over fear, you were being enrolled in an army you didn't even know existed. The army of the awakened, the remnant, the ones who carry scars like medals and wounds like weapons. This meeting, this divine appointment happening right now, it's not just about you finally understanding your calling. It's about you recognizing your battalion, because you were never meant to walk this path alone. Look around your life right now. Notice how certain people have been placed in your orbit recently. Notice how conversations are shifting, how opportunities are opening that match your spiritual gifts instead of your resume, how the right resources keep showing up at exactly the right time. That's not luck. That's logistics. Heaven's logistics. The same God who made sure Elijah found food in the wilderness, who ensured David's sling found its target, who guaranteed Joseph's dreams came to pass. That same God has been positioning people and circumstances around your life like chess pieces. And now it's time to make your move. You are not alone. You're part of the army waking up all at once. Coast to coast, nation to nation, the chosen ones are opening their eyes. The 144,000 are stepping into formation, not marching in lockstep, but moving in spirit. Not wearing the same uniform, but carrying the same frequency. Can you feel it? That shift in your chest when I speak these words? That's confirmation. That's your spirit responding to truth like a tuning fork responds to the right pitch. This isn't religious rhetoric. This is spiritual reality. And if you're still here, still listening, still feeling that pull in your core, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. The meeting is happening. The roll call is in session. And your attendance, your presence in this moment is not optional. It's ordained. So let me ask you something, and I need you to answer not with your mind but with your spirit. If you feel the summons in your chest, if something in your bones is saying this is why I survived everything I survived, then say it. Say it out loud, right now. Say I accept the call. Because what comes next isn't just about understanding your purpose. It's about stepping into the power you were born to carry. And that power, that divine electricity running through your veins right now, it's been waiting for this moment to fully ignite. I need you to stop what you're doing right now and feel something stirring in your chest. That restlessness, that knowing, that fire you've been trying to explain away as imagination. You've spent years dimming your light, haven't you? Apologizing for seeing what others couldn't see, making yourself smaller so they could sleep easier. You felt the spiritual realm pressing against your consciousness like thunder before the storm, but you whispered it away because they called you too much. Too sensitive, too deep, too spiritual for their comfort zones. But what if I told you what they called too much was actually not enough? What if the very gifts they mocked were the weapons heaven placed in your DNA before you took your first breath? You weren't born broken, beloved. You were born loaded. Every vision they dismissed as daydreaming. Every prophetic word they laughed off as coincidence. Every moment you felt someone's pain like it was your own. That wasn't weakness wearing your name. That was your spiritual software booting up in a world that runs on spiritual ignorance. Remember when you were a child? Before they taught you to doubt your own knowing, you saw things, felt things, knew things that hadn't happened yet. You walked into rooms and the atmosphere shifted. People either gravitated toward your light or recoiled from its intensity. And what did they do? They medicated your intuition, explained away your gifts, convinced you that what made you different made you damaged. But damaged goods don't carry divine frequencies. Broken vessels don't shift atmospheres just by breathing. And defective souls don't make demons nervous just by walking into a room. You were never the problem, chosen one. You were the solution they weren't ready for. Right now, this very moment, there's a spiritual activation happening in the realm, like a cosmic software update downloading directly into the souls of the 144,000. Ancient gifts buried under trauma are rising like buried treasure, finally seeing sunlight. Prophecy is stirring in voices that have been silent for decades. Discernment is sharpening in eyes that were taught to look away. Healing is flowing through hands that were told they were powerless. Can you feel it? That electric current running through your veins? That sudden knowing that your season of smallness is over? The gifts aren't coming back, beloved. They're coming alive. You're not remembering your power. You're downloading an upgrade. Think about Elijah, hidden by the brook Cherith, fed by ravens while a nation starved. God didn't hide his prophet because he was ashamed of him. He hid him because the full revelation of his power would have been too much for that moment. But when the time came, when the altars were built and the sacrifice was laid, fire fell from heaven at the prophet's word. Your hiding season is over. The spiritual realm is buzzing with anticipation because they know what's about to be unleashed through you. They've watched you carry wounds like weapons, transform pain into prophecy, turn your mess into your message. But now you're about to discover that everything you survived was training for what you're about to release. When David faced Goliath, he didn't just throw a stone. He released years of worship in the wilderness, months of protecting sheep from lions and bears, seasons of being overlooked and underestimated. That stone carried the weight of every prayer he prayed in secret, every song he sang when no one was listening. Your gifts carry the same weight, chosen one. Every tear you cried in silence soaked into your spiritual DNA. Every betrayal you survived refined your discernment. Every attack you endured sharpened your prophetic edge. You weren't just healing from trauma, you were being forged into a spiritual weapon. And now the atmosphere around you is changing because heaven is activating what hell tried to destroy. You walk into rooms and suddenly people start confessing sins they haven't spoken in years. You pray over situations and watch breakthrough manifest in ways that defy logic. You speak life over the broken and watch them rise from ashes they didn't even know they were buried under. This isn't coincidence. This is divine activation. When God activates a chosen one, even the air around them gets nervous. Demons recognize your frequency before people recognize your face. They know what's coming through you because they remember what you carried before you forgot. But you're remembering now, aren't you? That knowing in your bones that you were built for more than survival. That stirring in your spirit that whispers you're not just a survivor, you're a reviver. Not just a overcomer, you're an atmosphere shifter. The very people who tried to convince you that you were broken are about to witness what happens when God breathes on buried gifts. The same voices that mocked your sensitivity are about to feel the weight of your spiritual authority. Your gifts aren't just waking up, beloved. They're waking up others. Every prophetic word you speak breaks chains you can't see. Every prayer you pray shifts regions you'll never visit. Every act of spiritual obedience creates ripples that reach realms you can't imagine. You're not just carrying gifts, you're carrying keys. Keys to unlock prison doors. Keys to open heaven's storehouses. Keys to activate the gifts in others who are still convinced they're broken. But here's what the enemy fears most. You're about to stop apologizing for what God placed inside you. No more shrinking to fit spaces too small for your calling. No more explaining away the miraculous just to keep the comfortable comfortable. No more hiding your light under the basket of their insecurity. You weren't just chosen to survive. You were chosen to stir atmospheres, to walk into dead situations and watch them resurrect, to speak into barren wombs and watch them birth miracles, to lay hands on the broken and watch heaven respond through your fingerprints. The activation is here. The gifts are stirring. The spiritual realm is holding its breath, waiting to see what you'll do with what's been placed in your hands. If your gifts are stirring, say, "Activate me, Lord," out loud. Bold. Let that declaration echo in your living room, your car, your workplace. Let hell hear your voice surrender to what heaven has been preparing. Because what's about to be released through you won't just change your life. It's going to shift bloodlines, heal generations, and activate a spiritual awakening that's been prophesied for centuries. And it starts with you saying yes to what's stirring. Listen to me, chosen one. I need you to stop right here and feel this truth settling into your bones. You've spent your whole life wondering why you never fit. Why every room felt too small. Why every circle closed when you walked up. Why even in your own family, you felt like a stranger speaking a language they couldn't decode. Churches that called you too intense. Friends who said you were doing too much. Relatives who told you to tone it down and be more normal. Even the ones who claimed to love you most. They kept asking you to shrink, You thought something was wrong with you. But what if I told you you were never broken? What if the rejection wasn't about your flaws, but about your frequency? You see, chosen one, you weren't designed to blend into their mediocrity. You were coded to expose it. Remember Joseph? His own brothers couldn't stand his dreams, couldn't stomach his coat, couldn't tolerate the favor that marked him different. So they threw him in a pit, sold him like livestock. But what they meant for evil, God was already weaving into destiny. That rejection you felt, that wasn't personal, that was prophetic. You're not allergic to people, chosen one. You're allergic to spiritual compromise. Your spirit rejects counterfeit peace. Your soul can't breathe in rooms built on lies. You walk into fake environments, and your very presence starts an earthquake. Not because you're trying to cause problems, because you're wired to expose them. They called you difficult when you wouldn't laugh at their cruel jokes. They labeled you antisocial when you stopped showing up to gatherings that drained your soul. They whispered bitter when you finally set boundaries they'd been begging you to break. But here's what they never understood. You weren't being difficult. You were being discerning. You weren't antisocial. You were spiritually selective. You weren't bitter. You were finally awake. See, most people can tolerate dysfunction because they've never tasted authentic peace. They can stomach spiritual junk food because they've never been fed by heaven's table. But you've been touched by something real. And once you've tasted the genuine, the counterfeit makes you sick. That's why you can't fake smile anymore. That's why small talk feels like spiritual suffocation. That's why you'd rather be alone than surrounded by people who mistake your depth for drama. You thought you were the problem, but you were the solution to a problem they didn't want solved. Think about it. Every prophet was rejected by their generation. Every revolutionary was called crazy by their contemporaries. Every voice that carried heaven's frequency was labeled too much by ears that couldn't handle the octave. Moses stuttered, but when he spoke, kingdoms trembled. David was the youngest, the overlooked, but when he moved, giants fell. Elijah stood alone against 450 false prophets, and fire fell from heaven. You're not supposed to fit into their systems, chosen one. You're supposed to shatter them. Every time you walked away from their toxic table, you weren't losing, you were liberating. Every time you chose solitude over settling, you weren't isolating, you were elevating. Every time you said no to their version of normal, you were saying yes to your assignment. You weren't made to be comfortable in their chaos. You were built to be the disruption that forces them to choose between transformation and exposure. And here's the part that's going to hit you like lightning. The very people who tried to silence you are now being silenced by your existence. Watch them. The ones who used to speak so boldly about your issues have gone quiet. The ones who mocked your sensitivity are now drowning in emotions they can't process. The ones who called you unstable are losing their minds trying to maintain facades that your presence used to threaten. You didn't have to say a word. You didn't have to defend yourself. You didn't have to prove anything. Your growth became their conviction. Your peace became their torment. Your alignment became their undoing. Because when a chosen one stops trying to fit in and starts walking in their calling, the counterfeit can't coexist in the same space. You're not just different, beloved. You're dangerous. Dangerous to every lie they've built their identity on. Dangerous to every system that profits from spiritual sleep. Dangerous to every comfortable delusion they've mistaken for peace. You walk into rooms now and atmospheres shift, not because you're trying to stir up trouble, but because truth is your natural frequency. Authenticity is your default setting. And in a world addicted to masks, your naked soul is an earthquake in disguise. That's why they couldn't handle you then, and that's why they can't ignore you now. You weren't cast out, chosen one. You were set apart. You weren't rejected. You were redirected. You weren't broken. You were being rebuilt for a purpose too powerful for their small circles to contain. Stop mourning the tables you were never meant to sit at. Stop grieving the groups that were too shallow for your depth. Stop apologizing for the light that made their darkness uncomfortable. You are the answer to prayers they haven't even prayed yet. You are the disruption they need but don't want. You are the earthquake that's going to shake foundations until only what's real remains standing. If you've been rejected over and over, if you've never found your tribe, if you've spent your life feeling like you don't belong anywhere, say it with me right now. I was set apart, not cast out. Say it until it echoes in your chest. Say it until it rewrites the story you've been telling yourself. Say it until you understand that your rejection was never about your worth. It was about your assignment. Because the very thing that made you feel broken is the thing that's going to break open every system that tried to contain you. And what's coming next is going to show you exactly why heaven needed you positioned outside their circles. why your isolation was actually your preparation, and why the very people who cast you out are about to witness the power they tried to suppress. The earthquake is about to begin, chosen one, and you're standing at the epicenter. You know that feeling when you're sitting alone at 3 a.m., scrolling through their highlight reel while your world was falling apart, when they were posting about blessings while you were bleeding from wounds they carved, when they smiled for cameras while your name was poison in their mouth. Yeah, I see you nodding. You suffered in silence while they celebrated in public. You carried their secrets while they broadcast your shame. You protected their image while they shattered your reputation. And through it all, you kept asking the same question that echoes in every chosen one's heart. God, are you even watching this? Let me tell you something that's going to shift your whole perspective. He wasn't just watching, he was recording. Every lie they told about you got filed in heaven's database. Every tear you cried in secret got collected in divine vials. Every night you went to bed wondering if you were losing your mind. God was building a case file that would make federal prosecutors jealous. You see, chosen one, what you thought was abandonment, was actually documentation. But here's where it gets beautiful and terrifying for them. The reversal has begun. Not the kind of payback you see in movies. Not the dramatic confrontation you rehearsed in your head 1,000 times. This is something far more precise, far more surgical, far more divine. Remember Joseph? Thrown in a pit by his own brothers, lied about by Potiphar's wife, forgotten in prison for years? The same people who tried to bury him alive ended up bowing at his feet, not because he schemed for revenge, but because God flipped the entire board. That's what's happening to you right now. The same energy they sent out like arrows. It's boomeranging back with compound interest. The same lies they weaponized against you are now suffocating their own peace. The same isolation they forced on you has become the loneliness that haunts their success. You were the test they failed, and now, God is grading on a curve. Watch them closely, really watch. That nervous energy they carry now, that restlessness behind their eyes, that's not stress from normal life pressures. That's the sound of chickens coming home to roost. They thought they could manipulate the narrative forever, thought they could rewrite history in their favor, thought your silence meant you'd forgotten. But your silence wasn't surrender. It was the sound of heaven taking notes. Every meeting where they discussed your downfall, every group chat where they dissected your pain, every moment they chose cruelty over compassion, it all got time-stamped in eternity's courtroom. And now the gavel is falling. Not with lightning bolts and dramatic earthquakes, but with something far more devastating to those who worship image and control: exposure. Their masks are slipping in real time. The same people who painted you as unstable are now having public meltdowns. The ones who called you bitter are drowning in their own resentment. The ones who said you were broken are watching their own lives shatter like glass hitting concrete. This isn't coincidence. Chosen one, this is cosmic correction. The universe operates on laws more reliable than gravity. What goes up must come down, what goes out must come back, and what they sent your way. It's been making the rounds, picking up momentum, gathering witnesses. You want to know why it took so long? Because God doesn't just deliver justice, He delivers education. They needed time to get comfortable with their lies, time to build their house of cards higher, time to get so arrogant they'd forget the foundation was built on quicksand. David spent years running from Saul in caves while his enemies sat on a throne. But when the shift came, it came completely. One day Saul was king, the next day he was history. Your one day is here, but listen to me carefully. This isn't about revenge. Revenge is human. This is restoration. This is divine law in motion. This is the universe course-correcting because someone dared to touch what God was protecting. Making an enemy out of you just enrolled them in the school of divine consequence. And class is now in session. You're not celebrating their downfall because you're petty. You're witnessing it because you're proof. Proof that heaven sees. Proof that justice delayed isn't justice denied. Proof that the meek really do inherit the earth, while the proud inherit the storm. Every closed door that broke your heart was God saving you a seat at a better table. Every friendship that crumbled was Him removing people who would have never survived where you're going. Every opportunity they blocked was divine redirection towards something they could never access. They thought they were destroying your future. They were actually disqualifying themselves from it. Look at you now. Look at your peace. Look at your clarity. Look at the way you've learned to move in silence and strike with precision. You're not the same person they tried to break. You're the warrior they accidentally created. And that scares them more than anything else. Because they realize now, you weren't their victim. You were their judgment. Every cruel word, every calculated betrayal, Every moment they chose darkness over light. It was all being weighed on scales they couldn't see. You were the test, and they failed spectacularly. The beautiful part? You don't even have to lift a finger. Their own energy is consuming them like fire feeds on oxygen. Their own lies are tangling around their throats like nooses they tied themselves. This is what happens when someone touches God's anointed. This is what happens when people mistake God's patience for his absence. This is what happens when they confuse your mercy for weakness. Job lost everything, but got back double. Joseph was sold into slavery, but became prime minister. David was hunted like an animal, but inherited a kingdom. Your comeback isn't just personal, chosen one. It's prophetic. So when you see them scrambling now, when you notice their composure cracking, when you feel that shift in the atmosphere around your name, don't you dare feel guilty about it. You're not witnessing revenge, you're witnessing righteousness. You're seeing spiritual law enforce itself with surgical precision. This is not vengeance. This is spiritual law in motion. And you're walking proof that karma is real and heaven sees everything. Say, I am God's justice if you've felt the reversal begin. Say it out loud. Let your voice carry the weight of every tear you cried in secret. Let it echo with the authority of someone who survived the storm and emerged as the lightning. Because what they meant for evil, God is turning into your greatest testimony. And what comes next will prove that your patient endurance wasn't weakness. It was wisdom wrapped in warfare. Listen to me, chosen one. You've been asking the wrong question your whole life. You've been saying, why is this happening to me? When you should have been asking, why is this happening through me? Because what you've been carrying isn't just your pain, it's generational. What you've been bleeding isn't just your wounds, it's ancestral. Every tear you've cried, every betrayal you've endured, every night you've laid awake wondering if God forgot you, that wasn't just about you, that was about them. The ones who came before, the ones who couldn't break free, the ones who passed down what they couldn't heal. You think you're just surviving trauma? Number. You're processing centuries. You think you're just healing from betrayal? Number. You're rewiring bloodlines. Your great-grandmother's silent suffering, your grandfather's unspoken rage, your mother's buried dreams, your father's generational fear. It all flows through your veins like poisoned rivers. And you've been the filter, the one chosen to drink it all down and transform it into something sacred. They didn't understand why you were different, why you felt everything so deeply, why their casual cruelty hit you like spiritual bullets. It's because you weren't built like them. You were built to break what they couldn't even see. You are the pattern breaker. When God marked you, he didn't just choose a person. He selected a bloodline repair code. You are the firewall that blocked the curse, the circuit breaker that stopped the generational flow of pain, the one who said no more. It ends here. Every rejection you faced was preparing you for this moment, the moment you realize you weren't being punished for your bloodline sins. You were being positioned to heal them. Think about it. Why do you think they came for you so hard? Why do you think the attacks were so personal, so relentless, so calculated? Because the enemy knew. They knew that if you ever figured out who you really are, if you ever stepped into your true purpose, entire family trees would shift, generational curses would shatter, ancestral wounds would close. You weren't just a threat to them. You were a threat to the spiritual system that kept your people bound. But here's what they didn't count on. Here's what makes your story different from every other chosen one who came before. You survived. You didn't just endure the pressure, you transformed under it, like carbon becoming diamond, like gold refined in fire. Your healing is time travel. Every breakthrough you make reaches backward, touching what your ancestors wept for. Every boundary you set reaches forward, protecting what your descendants will praise for. You are standing at the intersection of past and future, holding the power to rewrite both. When you chose forgiveness over bitterness, you didn't just heal yourself, you healed your bloodline's relationship with forgiveness. When you chose silence over retaliation, you didn't just protect your peace, you rewrote your family's relationship with conflict. When you chose to rise instead of retreat, you didn't just save yourself, you opened a door that had been locked for generations. Your mother's mother's mother is watching from glory, whispering, finally, someone broke through. Your children's children's children will inherit strength they never had to fight for because you fought for it first. You are not just healing from trauma, you are the healing. You are not just breaking cycles, you are the breakthrough. You are not just surviving your bloodline's pain, you are transforming it into your bloodline's power. Every tear you've shed has been sacred water, washing away what couldn't be spoken. Every sleepless night has been a vigil, standing guard while generational healing took place in the unseen realm. Every moment of isolation has been an incubation, allowing something new to be born that your bloodline has never seen. This is why the attacks were so intense. This is why the betrayals cut so deep. This is why you felt like you were carrying the weight of the world. Because you were. You've been carrying the weight of your world, your family's world, your bloodline's world, your ancestry's unfinished business. But the weight that almost broke you is now the strength that defines you. You didn't just survive what your great-grandmother couldn't escape. You didn't just endure what your grandfather couldn't heal. You transmuted it. You alchemized pain into purpose, trauma into transformation, wounds into wisdom. And now you walk different. You talk different. You love different. Not because you're bitter, because you're better. Not because you're broken, because you're breakthrough. The very DNA that once carried curses now carries codes of liberation. Your presence alone shifts atmospheres because you carry the frequency of the free. Your voice carries weight because it echoes with the voices of ancestors who never got to speak their truth. Your light shines brighter because it's illuminated by the hope of descendants who will never have to walk in the darkness you walked through. You are the answer to prayers that were prayed before you were born. You are the fulfillment of prophecies spoken over bloodlines that had lost their way. You are the one they've been waiting for, not to rescue them, but to represent them, not to save them, but to show them what freedom looks like. This is your time. This is your moment. This is why you were chosen, not just for suffering, but for significance. Because your story doesn't end with survival. It ends with legacy. It ends with liberation. It ends with a bloodline that looks back at this moment and says, "That's when everything changed." Say it now. Let it echo through your home, through your heart, through your history. It ends with me, and it begins with me. Because chosen one, you are not just walking into your destiny, you are carrying your entire bloodline into theirs. And what comes next will show you exactly how to activate the power that's been sleeping in your DNA for generations. Listen to me, chosen one, right now. Right now, as you sit there in the quiet space between your old life and your destiny, heaven is holding its breath. You feel it, don't you? That electric current running through your chest, that knowing that's been building like thunder in your bones. You've been walking through dreams that feel more real than your waking hours, seeing numbers that chase you down the street, hearing your name whispered in empty rooms. This isn't coincidence. This is the summons. You've spent years asking, why me? When people betrayed you without reason. When family turned their backs on the very light they once celebrated. When friends became strangers overnight, leaving you to wonder if love was just another lie they told to keep you small. But what if? What if every rejection was really selection? What if every door that slammed in your face was heaven clearing the path for this moment? The scroll is open now. The seal that's been pressed against your destiny for decades. It's cracking. You can hear it in the silence between your heartbeats. You can feel it in the way the air shifts when you walk into a room now. This is your awakening. And chosen one, you can't go back. You can't unsee what your spirit already knows. You can't unfeel the fire that's been lit in your chest. The old you, the one who apologized for taking up space, who dimmed your light to make others comfortable, who carried shame like it was your middle name, that version died the moment you heard this truth. You were encoded with eternity before your first breath, stamped with purpose before your first heartbreak. Every tear you cried in secret was collected like sacred data. Every night you couldn't sleep because the weight of other people's expectations was crushing your chest. Heaven was downloading something into your spirit that you're just now beginning to understand. This is the final briefing before your mission begins. Look around you. The people in your life who've been acting strange lately, the ones avoiding your calls, the ones who suddenly seem uncomfortable in your presence. They feel it too. The shift, the frequency change, the way your energy now carries something they can't name but can't ignore. You're not the same person you were 6 months ago. Hell, you're not the same person you were 6 minutes ago. Because when heaven opens a scroll with your name on it, transformation isn't optional. It's inevitable. This isn't just another spiritual phase you're going through. This isn't self-help dressed up in holy language. This is cosmic deployment. This is the moment when everything that happened to you starts working for you. Remember Joseph in that pit? His brothers thought they were ending his story. They had no idea they were launching his legend. Remember David hiding in caves while Saul hunted him like an animal? Those weren't years of exile. Those were years of preparation for a throne he didn't even know was waiting. And you beautiful, broken, brilliant soul, you've been in your own version of that pit, haven't you? That cave, that place where nobody could find you because heaven needed to speak to you without interruption. The isolation wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Every betrayal refined you. Every rejection redirected you. Every moment you felt forgotten, you were actually being positioned on coordinates that would change everything. And now the positioning is complete. You're not watching this by accident. You didn't stumble onto this message while scrolling mindlessly through your phone. This is divine appointment. This is sacred GPS, guiding you to the exact moment when your calling collides with your courage. You're standing on holy ground disguised as ordinary Tuesday. You're breathing spiritual atmosphere in a physical body that's still catching up to what your soul already knows. This is your deployment. The army you've been unconsciously part of your entire life is assembling. Not in some physical building with stained glass windows and collection plates. In the realm where purpose meets power, where pain transforms into prophecy, where the rejected become the selected. You are one of the 144,000. Not because you're perfect, not because you never doubted, not because you had it all figured out, but because when heaven needed someone who could carry light through darkness without losing their humanity, they chose you. When they needed someone who could be broken without becoming bitter, they chose you. When they needed someone who could love in a loveless world, forgive the unforgivable, and stand when everything inside them was screaming to fall, they chose you. The enemy spent years trying to convince you that your sensitivity was weakness, that your tears were evidence of instability, that your capacity to feel deeply in a numb world made you defective. But chosen one, your tears were evidence of your divinity. Your sensitivity was evidence of your assignment. Your ability to love people who hurt you was evidence that heaven lives in your chest. And right now, as these words penetrate the armor you built around your heart, heaven is watching to see if you'll move. Will you step into the frequency you've been carrying in secret? Will you stop apologizing for the light that makes others squint? Will you finally accept that you weren't made to fit in because you were made to stand out? The choice is yours. But understand this. This summons doesn't come twice. This awakening doesn't wait for your convenience. This call doesn't repeat itself until you feel ready. Either you rise now, or you spend the rest of your life wondering what would have happened if you'd been brave enough to believe what your spirit already knows. If you know this is your hour, if something in your bones is vibrating with recognition, if you can feel the ancient fire stirring in your chest, declare it now, out loud, in the secret place where only heaven can hear you. I am one of the 144,000. Say it like you mean it. Say it like your ancestors are listening. Say it like your future depends on it, because heaven is listening, and your real life, the one you were actually born to live. It starts the moment you stop running from who you really are. The scroll is open. The seal is broken. The summons has been delivered. What happens next depends entirely on what you choose to do with this sacred moment. Because awakening is just the beginning. What comes after, that's where the real story starts. Listen to me, chosen one. You thought the revelation was your destination. You thought finally seeing the truth would bring you peace. You thought understanding why they came for you, why they betrayed you, why they tried to silence your light. You thought that knowing would be enough. But here's what nobody told you about awakening. It's not the end of your story. It's your enrollment in God's army. You've been sitting in that knowing for weeks, maybe months now, finally understanding that you weren't the problem. Finally, seeing that their rejection wasn't about your worth, but about their fear. Finally realizing that every attack, every betrayal, every whisper campaign was because they sensed something in you they couldn't control. And for a moment, just a moment, you thought you could rest. You thought you could take that truth and wrap it around yourself like a warm blanket, heal in silence, grow in private, build your peace behind closed doors where no one could touch it again. But chosen one, God didn't crack you open just so you could see the light. He broke you open so the light could pour out. You weren't awakened for comfort. You were awakened for combat. Every tear you cried in those dark nights when nobody called, nobody checked, nobody cared, those weren't just tears of pain. Those were tears of preparation. Each drop was God's way of washing away everything that couldn't survive what's coming next. Because here's the part they don't tell you in those feel-good spiritual circles. Awakening is just boot camp. The real mission starts when you stop hiding behind your healing and start walking in your power. You've been given clearance to see behind the veil. You know now why the energy shifted when you walked in rooms, why people who barely knew you suddenly had opinions about your life, why your own family turned strange when your light got too bright. You understand now that you weren't losing your mind. You were gaining your sight. But sight without action is just spiritual entertainment. God didn't give you discernment so you could judge. He gave it to you so you could move with precision. He didn't show you the spiritual realm so you could escape this one. He showed it to you so you could operate in both dimensions simultaneously. You're being handed orders sealed in ancient fire, assignments that were written before time began, with your name already inscribed in letters that glow. Remember Joseph? Betrayed by his brothers, forgotten in prison, left to rot while everyone moved on with their lives. But that pit wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Those years of silence weren't abandonment. They were training. Because when Pharaoh's dream needed interpreting, when a nation needed saving, when history needed shifting, God needed someone who knew what it felt like to survive the unthinkable. Sound familiar? Your betrayal wasn't random. Your isolation wasn't cruel. Your silence wasn't weakness. You were being prepared for an assignment so specific, so crucial, that only someone who had walked through that particular fire could handle the heat. But here's where it gets real, chosen one. Here's where the comfortable part of your awakening ends, and the dangerous part begins. You can't stay in the revelation phase forever. You can't keep processing what happened to you without stepping into what you're supposed to do about it. Because every day you stay in healing mode instead of moving into action mode, another chosen one stays trapped in the same darkness you just escaped from. Your story isn't just about you anymore. Your breakthrough isn't just for you anymore. Your voice isn't just yours anymore. God invested too much in your survival for you to use it just for your own peace. He didn't preserve you through all that chaos so you could live quietly in the suburbs of spiritual comfort. He preserved you because there are others still trapped in the very system that tried to destroy you, and they need to hear from someone who made it out. They need to see someone who was gaslighted and stayed sane, someone who was betrayed and kept their heart open, someone who was rejected and still chose love, someone who was abandoned and discovered they were never alone. You are their proof that survival is possible. You are their evidence that God still moves. You are their confirmation that the system doesn't always win. Because here's what's happening right now, in this very moment, while you're still deciding whether you're ready, whether you're healed enough, whether you know enough. Others are drowning in the same waters you just learned to walk on. God didn't open your eyes just so you could see. He opened them so you could move. He didn't give you the ability to discern spirits just so you could protect yourself. He gave it to you so you could expose the ones still deceiving others. He didn't show you how the enemy operates just so you could avoid the traps. He showed you so you could disarm them for the people still caught inside. The meeting is over, chosen one, but your mission has just begun. Listen to me one last time. Let this settle into the marrow of your bones, into the sacred chambers of your heart where only truth can dwell. You are not who you were when this message started. Something shifted, something awakened, something that was sleeping under layers of doubt and disappointment just opened its eyes for the first time. You are one of the 144,000, not because you're perfect, not because you never fell, but because you got back up, because you refused to let their betrayal become your identity, because you chose healing over hatred, boundaries over bitterness, elevation over revenge. Your pain wasn't punishment, chosen one. It was preparation. Every tear was a baptism. Every betrayal was a test you passed without even knowing you were taking it. Every silent night when you thought God forgot your name, He was whispering your assignment in a language your spirit understood but your mind couldn't yet decode. But now you know. Now you see. Now you understand why the attacks came so early, why they hit so hard, why they felt so personal. Because they were. You were marked before birth, chosen before time, called before you could even speak your own name. And to those who tried to break you, who whispered lies about your character, who turned your loved ones against you, who celebrated when you fell, the door is closing. Not in anger, but in authority. Not in bitterness, but in finality. You don't owe them explanations anymore. You don't owe them access anymore. You don't owe them your energy, your forgiveness, or your presence. That chapter isn't just closed. It's sealed. The bridge isn't just burned. It's erased from the map. As it is written in Isaiah 43:18-19, forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. God is making streams in your wasteland, chosen one, rivers in your desert, beauty from your ashes. He's not just restoring what was stolen. He's creating something that never existed before. So let me speak this over your life like an ancient blessing carved in stone. You are chosen, you are called, you are covered, you are commissioned. You are not too sensitive. You are spiritually gifted. You are not too much. You are exactly enough for your assignment. You are not broken. You are breakthrough walking in human form. You are not alone. You never were. Angels have been shadowing your steps, recording every tear, documenting every injustice, preparing for this moment when you finally remember who you are. Say this with me, chosen one. Let it echo in your spirit, in your home, in the atmosphere around you. I am one of the 144,000. I was chosen before time. I was prepared through pain. I was refined through rejection. I was positioned through persecution. And now I walk in the authority of my assignment. What was meant to destroy me has become the foundation of my destiny. Say it again, louder this time. Let heaven hear you claim what was always yours. If this message found you when you needed it most, that wasn't coincidence. That was coordination, divine appointment, spiritual GPS guiding you to this moment of recognition. Share this message, not for views, not for likes, but for the other chosen ones still walking in darkness, still questioning their calling, still wondering if their pain has purpose. Your share might be the key that unlocks someone else's prison. Your comment might be the confirmation someone else has been praying for. Because this is how the 144,000 find each other. Not through church directories or social media algorithms, through spirit recognizing spirit, through light calling to light, through the frequency of awakened souls creating ripples that reach other shores. Drop a 144-inch the comments if you know this is your truth. Let the others see. Let them know they're not alone. Let them know the summons has gone out and the chosen are answering the call. And if you feel led to support this ministry through super thanks or any donation, know that you're not just giving money. You're funding the awakening. You're investing in the revelation. You're partnering with heaven to make sure this truth reaches every chosen one who needs to hear it. But whether you give or not, you've already received what you came for. You've already heard what your spirit was desperate to know. You've already been confirmed in what your heart always suspected but your mind couldn't prove. You are chosen. You are not crazy. You are not cursed. You are called. The meeting is adjourned. Chosen one. But the mission is just beginning. And remember this final truth, this last word that will echo long after this message ends. The enemy thought they were destroying you, but they were actually preparing you.